Hello. So today I was just guided to make a video and I want to talk about sex today. This is like a like a taboo subject I guess a lot of people don't really talk about or like to talk about, but I think it's important to talk about it because there's no shame in it and there's a lot of shame surrounding just there's a lot of shame surrounding sex, and I feel like it has a lot to do with why we have so much sexual abuse, why we have sexual assault, why we have things like rape, why we have things like child molestation. Sex has been distorted in our country. And so this distorts our most powerful energy. I say this a lot because it's very important. And I had a lot of like distortion and a lot of past life like wounding around like the sacral chakra and around sex and sexuality and sensuality and intimacy, creativity. So like I said, this is our most powerful energy that we have as human beings. It's our creation energy. If you think about creation, the creation of this earth, like it's it's how we create children, right? Is it with our sexual, but it's more than our sexual organs. It's more than our genitalia. It's it's like that sex drive. The reason we have such a strong urge to have sex is it was intended for us to be designed that way so we could keep humanity alive, so we could keep like that urge to create, to create another life is so strong, especially like in women we want to be mothers naturally. It's so strong, like I said, to keep the human race alive. And so but when that energy has been distorted and people are having sex not in a conscious way, and they're just giving their power away to anybody that will sleep with them, this diminishes your light. It takes away your power. It takes away your creativity. It takes away your most powerful resource that we have as human beings, is just having sex with random people. And that's totally our society and our culture today. We have apps where you hook up with people. I mean, it's really quite delusional. And I use it a lot because it's just like when you wake up from the delusion of this world, you recognize how many things we've been made to believe that we think are just normal, that really aren't normal. And these are hurting people. Like sexual abuse is a huge problem in our country. And I know it's not just our country, but all I can speak for is our country. And I care about our country and I love our country. And our country was actually, if you look at our roots, Native Americans, very spiritual beings. And I talk about the patriarchy because the patriarchy came over here, killed so many Native Americans, and then just like took over the land like it was theirs, and they couldn't even share. We couldn't even share with these people that this was their home, and we just took it from them. Not only did we just take from them, we killed people. So many women were raped. I have shared a past life memory of being a Native American woman who was raped by a man like a European man. And that started like what would be like lifetimes of like and it's like I, as a being, as a soul, have always carried a very, very powerful creative energy. And that is also known like as my sexual energy. And so I've always carried a very sexual energy. And I've also experienced a lot of sexual trauma in other lifetimes. I've never experienced it in this lifetime, but I've taken it on for like my ancestors, and I can really feel, and like I've said, I've had like past life memories, and there's people that are close to me that have experienced this. And so I'm not just speaking for me, and I'm just speaking for everybody, for every child who has experienced sexual abuse. Like this should not be happening. And these children, I feel like the reason that a child would be sexually abused as the one that had been abused would be because they carry a very sexual energy. And I always dimmed this part of me, this part of my sexual energy, because I can sense it now, especially since I've done a lot of the healing work to my sacral chakra, and I've stepped into like my power, and I've kind of owned like my self-esteem, and I've had confidence, and like I love my body. I used body shame as a way to protect me from this sexual energy, because like I've said, it's been distorted in our country, and I've experienced in this country a lot of sexual abuse in many different lifetimes. And so I used body shame as a way to protect myself. And now I can feel it when I go out in public, like I hear these voices in my head, like saying, like I look good, I really look good. And I know it's not just my body, but I have a very, very attractive energy. And I don't mean like attractive physically. I just mean my energy is very attractive because I'm in alignment with who I am, and I'm a very powerful creator. And so this energy just makes me very attractive, and it's distorted. So when somebody else looks at me, like for example, men, when they look at me, and like I'm very telepathic, so I can hear people's thoughts. I can hear what they're thinking about me, especially when they're looking at me, and I can just know when somebody's looking at me. And so I tend not to take it like personally, and I don't like let it get to my head, and like I just know that it's my energy. Like, and especially men are attracted to a woman's energy. And so a lot of women, like they so sorry, I'm just trying to think of how to put this here. So like I said, it's just the energy that they're attracted to. But because society has distorted, especially what it means for a man to look at a woman's body, like our bodies have been sexualized. And that's why it's like important for me. And I say like, and I do these things for like the next generation, because we shouldn't be sexualizing bodies. They were not intended to be sexualized. That's something that our culture and our society has created. It's also a good way to keep the population very high. And to always keep people breeding and breeding. You can see it like, especially over the last years, a while we've had like teen pregnancy. This year, children having children. And we just promote these things, like we have TV shows where it's like, it's starting to form the belief that it's normal that children are having children. And really, you should not be having children until you can learn to take care of yourself. Like, obviously the accidents happen, but you shouldn't be having sex that's unconscious. You shouldn't be having sex willy-nilly. You shouldn't be, we should be teaching our children what it means to have sex, and sex is something that is sacred. I feel like another reason why we have the sexual abuse and like rape and women having to cover up their bodies is because we've been teaching our children for a very long time to sexualize the body, to disrespect it, to look at it as like some sex symbol. If you know, like some parents, when we watch movies, or you cover up your children's eyes when there's a pair of like boobs on the TV, or a woman's boobs, not a man's, but just a woman's. You cover up their eyes, or if there's a movie and there's people having sex, you cover up the eyes, because sex, that right there forms your belief for your child that sex is bad. Sex is not bad. We need to stop shaming sex so that people aren't, when you associate that like negative energy, like don't look, it's bad. No, sex is a very natural thing. Also, how we keep the human race alive is by having sex. But if we were teaching our children what it means to actually have sex, and it wasn't such a hush-hush subject, and we were actually teaching our kids these proper, non-diluted ways of what sex is, there would not be so much sexual abuse. We tell our kids like your penis is bad, or your vagina is bad, or like, they're not bad. If we put so much shame around, like, or even like breasts, women's breasts, there is no shame around women's breasts. And I honestly believe too, because I believe a lot of repressed emotions, a lot of repression causes disease in the body. And I also believe that a lot of repression of women's breasts has caused a lot of breast cancer, because it's like shame associated with this breast. Even if you don't carry it in this lifetime, this is something our society has bred for a really long time, that there's so much shame around a woman's body. And this is why there's so much body shame. Like I said, I use body shame as a way to protect myself, because I thought if my body was unattractive, that I wouldn't get hurt, that I would probably not get raped in this lifetime. And many lifetimes past. I've been obese in a lot of lifetimes, because, fat people are shamed in this country. And so, they're seen as unattractive, they're seen as unworthy, less than. And so, like I said, my creative energy, also known as my sexual energy, is very powerful. I'm just a very powerful creator, and I've always hidden that part of me because I was scared. I was scared that if I allowed that energy to roam freely throughout my body, that I would be attracting some kind of hurt. And if you do, like if you've experienced rape in any lifetime, this is a deeply formed belief, mostly in women, but it also could exist in men. There is a lot of male rape that goes unheard of. I can't imagine how many male rapes go unreported, because there's so much shame, so much not feeling like a man, or demasculizing a man, or making them feel weak, like they couldn't protect themselves. And this is the abuse of the sexual energy. It's been sold as something that it is not. And so, like I said, when we have a lot of shame around sex and we don't talk about sex freely, sex is not a bad thing. It's a sacred thing, and we should be teaching our children this from a very young age. And I just want to say to everyone out there, to anyone who's never heard it before, your penis, your vagina is beautiful, and you should be treating it accordingly. You should treat your body and your sexual organs with respect, because they deserve it. And you should not be just throwing your goods around for people to have. If you, I talk a lot about energy. When you have sex with another person, you're not just taking on their energy. It's an energetic exchange is what sex is. It's not it's not as much physical as people think it is. We've just been made to believe that everything is sexual, that everything is physical, that the only thing that exists is the physical. And that is not true. So when you're having sex with another, you're exchanging energies with this person. And not only with this person, but every person that they've had sex with. And so just think about how clogged up your energy is, especially in that sacral chakra if you've had a lot of sexual partners. I'm not shaming anybody that has had a lot of sexual partners. That's what our culture is. That's what our society is have casual sex. No big deal. Just throw it around. Pretend you're not attached, especially women. Pretend you're not attached. Pretend it doesn't mean anything. Tell yourself that if you have sex with them, maybe they'll love you. That's what a lot of women do. Oh, if I just sleep with him, maybe he'll really like me. Maybe if I sleep with him. And I've been there. I've done that before. I was so insecure and I was so desperate and needy for somebody else to love me because I was not loving myself. And so I just had sex with people, and I haven't had sex with a lot of people. I've only had sex with people that I truly care about. And so, but they didn't always truly care about me, and I would have known that, and I should have made better decisions. But at the time, I thought it meant something different. To me, it meant something different. To them, it didn't. And that's where you have to draw the line, and you have to learn to have respect. When you can learn to understand your energy and what energy is yours and what energy is other people's, you'll be able to and this is in cases too for women that are wanting to be more vulnerable, because I feel like that is the whole purpose. That's why I share my body freely. Yes, that leaves me open to a lot of sexual harassment, which I have not really experienced very much of. It also leaves me open to men thinking that I want something based off what their beliefs are. And me sharing my body does not mean I want to have sex. You know, it does not mean that I'm looking to have sex with somebody. To me, my body is art. To me, this is how I express myself. I came into this world naked, and I shouldn't have to like cover myself up. If you think about, like, just this has really been resonating for me recently, but like Adam and Eve, they were naked, you know, and just because a woman like walks around, you know, like you can tell the style is changing and women are becoming more like, if you just think about it, like we used to not be able to show our legs. That blows my mind that we used to like it was like illegal for us to show our legs. Sorry, that just makes me really laugh because now it's like it's illegal for us to like have breasts. Oh my gosh, sometimes it just like I can't even believe that we believe this shit. You know, I cannot believe it that I believe this stuff for so long, and it's just delusional. It's delusional. And so when you become really in tune to your energy and you're wanting to be more vulnerable, like I still experience like even just wearing like a dress, like, and I can wear things that are like more revealing and like I want to show off my body, you know, like I've worked really hard to get where I am today and I love my body, you know, I love it so much and I've never felt like that before. I've always carried so much body shame and that took a lot of work for me to bust through those barriers and break those illusions from society that told me that my body was not good enough, that my body wasn't beautiful, you know. And so I did a lot of work to change my beliefs and I want to express my body. I want to look, it's not like look at me, like it's just like I feel good and I know that when people look at me they know that I feel good. And so like I said, I'll go out in public and like I said I can notice when people are looking at me and like I just smile and go about my day. Like I'm not trying to turn people's heads. I don't give a shit about any of that. Like that's not who I am. I don't care. Like because the thoughts that I'm having, I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're looking at me, like I'm not used to that. I am not, especially like I'm just not used to that. Like I said, for a very long time, I've repressed that creative energy, also known as my sexual energy, which is also what guys are attracted to. Like I said, they're attracted to energy, and when you're really embodying that like feminine energy, you will be very like feminine, very like sensual. And so that's something that a man is attracted to naturally. And as women, we are not meant to go out and hunt for these men, you know. As women, we're supposed to align with our true nature, with our energy, and we become very attractive just by doing that. It can be very hard to be in this space. I'm feeling this right now, like I'm ready to like date and like go out and just like have fun and express myself. And I honestly feel like I am ready to be in a relationship, but at the same time, like I'm also enjoying my singleness. Like I'm enjoying just being with me and loving myself and like being proud of myself and reaching for my dreams and reaching for my goals. And I feel good. I feel confident. And that's what's helping me to pursue my dreams. And anyway, I kind of got off track, but so when you can read people's energy, so like online dating, I'm all for it because I think it's awesome. You can reach people from all over the place. You can just tap into a lot more, you know, variety of people. But I think that I would like to call it energy dating. This is just an idea that I have where especially women still put your profile up. Make sure your pictures are like genuine, but honestly, when you're, let's say you have a match and you go to this guy's page and it's more about, you can read their energy. So you can read it by the way they post. It's really about learning how to read energy, which we can all do because we are all energy. But like I said, especially if you have sex with a lot of random people and like if you think about how many sexual partners you've had and then think about how many sexual partners they've had and how much energy is all clogged up in your energetic body, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And once you clear that energy, you'll be able to look at a guy's profile and you'll know, nope, not for me. So you can just do it by reading their energy. You wouldn't have to like go on these dates and like no, or then like go on the date and then feel obligated to like sleep with them. And So that's and like I said, women are not meant to be hunters. We are gatherers. So I'm like, it's all about community, especially the sisterhood. Women, we need to come together and stop trying so hard to be what we think men want us to be, and start being who we are, and start attracting what it is that we want, and start attracting the love that we desire. The only way we can do that is if we start loving ourselves like we want a partner to love us. And that can be challenging, and it brings up a lot of wounds, a lot of healing, a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of attachment styles. And it's not like I had abandonment issues, but I was never abandoned, but I was abandoned emotionally. And I feel like that happens a lot for women, and just young children, that their parents, we have to stop blaming our parents. I could blame my parents for eternity if I wanted to, for all the like stuff that like I grew up believing that I wasn't worthy. I grew up believing that I wasn't smart. I grew up believing that I didn't deserve love. I grew up not believing in my dreams, because I was never taught to believe in my dreams. My parents were never taught to believe in their dreams. I'm here to tell you that your dreams can come true, but you really have to like put in, I don't like to call it's not work. It's just, I don't know the right word. It is work, like you have to be willing and ready to go like balls to the wall and look at yourself with extreme honesty. And that can be really hard. Like, you'll just start crying once you realize that you're the only person that was in your way, that you're the only person stopping you from your dreams coming true, that you're the only person stopping you from receiving love. And so it's not easy. And it does take like radical honesty. That's one thing I've always been pretty good at. Sometimes I keep myself blinded because I don't want to hear it, Don't we all? Like, but that's part of the growth. That's part of the process, is like, you can either decide to stay stuck and you can continue to blame other people for your dreams not coming true, for you not having love, for you not feeling fulfilled, for you not being happy, or you can take life by the balls and own your life. And you can say, no, this is how it's going to go. I'm not a victim of life. I'm a creator of life. It's not always like as easy as it sounds, and it's more about aligning with the feeling of joy. And that was a huge process for me. But like I said, it's about like, back to my main subject. Sometimes I get a little carried away and like, I don't know, I feel really passionate about sex, and like I want to write poetry about sex. I want to change the way that we see sex. I came here to create a new earth. I came here to pioneer a new way of living. And not everybody's going to understand what I have to say. And people are going to be like, okay, so like I said, I don't think I ever got to this point. But when you can read energy, I'm like, because people are like, you can't post pictures of yourself. Like, I just follow some women who like freely share their bodies, and that makes me feel really inspired. That's why I follow them. That's why I do it myself. And I tend to do more of it, especially in nature, because in nature, I want to be naked. I want to be one with the earth. And I feel like that's a very natural feeling. And I love nature, and I want to write poetry, like I said, about like sex, about the body, about nature, about God. But like I said, when you can read energy, and let's say like maybe you are a female and you want to travel solo, but you have these fears coming up, especially around like being raped, or like, like you just have that fear. And I feel like that's very natural, but it's not normal. And the only reason we have those beliefs is because so much sexual abuse has gone on in our country. And we kind of have to shift all this. And the way that we shift it is by talking about these things and being more open and letting go of the shame. And how do you let go of shame? You bring it into the light. You talk about these things. So they don't have anywhere to hide. Like, there's no shame in sex. There's no shame in your body. There's no shame in your sexuality, because that's another thing that sacral chakra is all about, is your sexuality. And there's a lot of people excuse me, that hide their sexuality, and they pretend, like especially people that are homosexual, and there's been so much shame around that, and like people not being allowed to be who they are. It just blows my mind that people aren't allowed to be who they are based off who, and like it's energy. So you can be a woman and carry a more masculine energy. You can see in the way that more masculine women are. They just carry more masculine attributes. They're just more masculine, but they have a feminine body. This is also why I feel a lot of children from the next generation will be incarnating into bodies that they don't feel like themselves in. So like, like people that are transgender, they feel like they were meant to be a girl, and it's because their energy is very feminine. They just carry a very feminine energy, and they feel like they're not in the right body, They know from an early age that they are a woman, or that they are a girl. They were born into a masculine body. This is a time for us to, like, equality, and that gender it's like an illusion. It's a way to separate us, and we are not separate. We just came here to experience duality. So we're just like a man. You can have a masculine body and resonate more with your feminine energy. And I don't think this always necessarily means that you're like a homosexual. I just think it depends on like also like like what you're attracted to. And so like I said, the bodies, like, we need to stop focusing so much on the bodies, stop sexualizing the bodies, and really be more open-minded to change. And I still don't think I made this point. But the people, like I said, if there's females that are going to want to travel solo, but they feel like this fear of like, if you're thinking and you have a fear of like, oh, I'm going to be raped, I'm going to be hurt, like this is a belief that's been formed in your psyche, probably not from this lifetime if you haven't been hurt by a man in this lifetime, but lifetime past. And so you could attract rape into your life by holding that subconscious belief that you will be raped, and so it's about clearing out that energy and clearing out your subconscious and recognizing that these beliefs have been formed by the way you've probably been treated in other lifetimes. And so even though you don't think that you're consciously, it's usually never conscious that you're attracting something like that, like a rape or some sort of sexual like assault, but you're attracting it into your energy field because somewhere in your psyche, somewhere in your DNA, somewhere in your energy, you are holding the belief that you will be raped. And so this is a really important karmic lesson to integrate, especially in the world today, especially in our country, especially with the sexual energy that's just like, I can feel it like flooding. And that's why I'm making a video about it, because it's important to talk about these things. I feel like a lot of sexual abuse, a lot of sexual harassment, a lot of rape, I feel like a lot of this is going to be coming up because it's something that's been severely distorted in our country, and it's going to keep us from evolving, because our creative energy, also known as our sexual energy, is our most powerful energy to create change, to create something new. It is our creation energy. And because it has been sold, and because it's been like, okay, so there's a lot of deceit that runs our country. Deceit is just misrepresentation of the truth. The truth about what our sexual energy is and how we should treat it has been misrepresented. And so there's just a lot of misconceptions about what sex is. And there's a lot of shame around it. Also, why I just don't care about, like, I had so much fear about speaking about sex, about speaking my truth, about bringing these things to the light and speaking about them, because I know people don't want to hear it, and I know people are going to be stuck in their own ways, but I try to look at it as a bigger picture, and I try to look at it about, like, I look at it energetically, and I look at it at our country as a whole. I see me as my country. I am the United States of America, and I treat myself how I'd want my country to be treated or how I think we should act in this country. And it's just a very historical time right now. Our president, very like, it's like very patriarchal. And like this system is going to start crumbling. And all astrologically, this has all like been lined up. This has all been divinely organized. And so this is being brought to the light for us to see and to do something different. Like, I know a lot of people have issues with our president, him basically lying and saying he's going to do one thing. And like, I'm sorry, but every time, I don't mean to laugh, but every time I think of him or I see him in my head or I have a vision of him, I just laugh out loud. He's a joke to me. Like, that sounds maybe ignorant or ridiculous, but I see it as the bigger picture. And our president is our president because of who he is. He is he's like a statue of who we've become as a country. And not everyone is like that, but we need to step up as the people of this country and be like, hey, this isn't who we are, but a lot of our people are egotistical. Trump is very egotistical. He's way in his head. And honestly, I had this epiphany not too long ago that Donald Trump, his soul, is actually the creator of the patriarchy. And he came here to watch this shit go down and crumble right before his eyes. I just feel like he's being majorly tested right now. And we're just like watching it. And like I said, I tend to laugh a lot. Like I said, I can read energy. You can read energy through the TV. You know when somebody's lying. You know when somebody's a fool. He doesn't know what he's doing, And I think that's okay. Like, do any of us know what we're doing? No, but why are we relying on this man to like run our country? And like people, like, you're not controlled by this. You're not controlled by our president. As much as you think you are, like, you're not. Like, you can take back your power. You do that by freeing your mind, changing your beliefs. You can do that via meditation. That's the best thing about our minds, and that's the best thing about science proving everything, is that we can do this, that we can change our beliefs, that we can, like, our minds are just being controlled right now by deceit. There's a lot of deceit, and it starts with our government. If you think about the people of this country, you think about the hate, you think about the crime, you think about like war is another thing. Our children killing other children in school. War teaches children that you solve your problems by using violence. Like, our country is a representation. If you think about our country and like our government, they're our leaders, right? They're leading us by using violence, by controlling us with money and power and sex. And these things are having a huge impact, especially on the next generation. And it's important for us, if we can't even, it's important for us to do this for our children, to raise awareness for this stuff. That's all I want to do, is just raise awareness and bring this into people's minds and into the light and be like, hey, what is going on? Why are we living like this? Because we've been made to believe that the way we live is normal, and it's not normal. And so, like, a lot of people might feel powerless. A lot of people, I feel like they want to take their power back. I feel like the reason Trump is our president is for us to learn this, for us to learn to take our power back as the people of this country, and to rise and be like, there is more of us than there is of you. But Trump is definitely one of those people that likes to watch people squirm, and he gets off on it, kind of, like, it's like evil. He is like the representation of, like I said, the patriarchy, of deception, of evil. And guess what? Our country has hidden behind "in God we trust" for so long that we honestly believe that this is how God would want our country to look like or to be run. No. I think, people call us like God's country. And like I said, with the Native Americans, very spiritual beings. They believed in God. They believed in a higher power. I believe our land is very sacred. I believe that we have a lot of potential. It's just about allowing the old to fall away. I feel like people are going to cling to the old. Like I said, the system, it's going to fall apart right in front of our face. the system, the patriarchy, is a representation of our ego. And so as the patriarchy crumbles, as our egos crumble, we're going to want to grasp, we're going to grasp for money. We're going to want to grasp for like codependent relationships based off sex, based off material things. We're going to want to cling to these things because that's how we know how to live, And so I see it like the Titanic, when it starts to tip and people are like, I don't know, I just feel like people are holding on for dear life to the old. But we have to it's going to be so hard because we're going to have to learn to let go. I feel like this is going to be a very long process, and it's going to take us a very long time as a country as a whole to learn how to move in a new direction, because there's going to be so many people that hold on to the old. I honestly believe that there will be, this is just like the insight I'm receiving. I'm very intuitive. I've held my insight back for a really long time because I cared too much about what people think. But who am I? I'm nobody. I'm nobody with a voice. And I'm just exercising my right as a human being. And at this day and age, I can reach people via the internet. Especially because not a lot of people want to hear what I have to say. And so it's like, these are the things that I want to talk about. I want to have conversations about this. I don't care about small talk. And I want to talk about bigger issues. I want to talk about what's going down in our country. I want to talk about the bigger picture. I see everything energetically. I see everything. It's like I'm up here looking down, especially on our country. I'm very passionate about our country. I love America. I think we already have a great country and we have everything we need here. But we're just being led in the wrong direction. It's like, come on, we need to go a different direction. But we're being led by deceit. And that's why there's so much sickness. And I mean mental illness, sexual abuse, all these terrible things that are happening in our country is because we're being led by lies. We're being lied to. We're being deceived. Imagine what that does to a person's psyche. And so when, that's why we have so much hate, so much division. The media is always dividing people. And it's just important to know that the stuff that you see on TV is not always real. And don't believe everything you watch. Don't believe everything you see. Start being more conscious of what you're watching and what you're letting yourself listen to. So anyway, that's kind of just my random rant. I'm just going to probably start making random videos of these insights that I have, or I just start to feel inspired and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a video. So I do it. But that's just my rant for the day. And I'll probably definitely be sharing more, but I just wanted to share more about sex, and there's no shame. Share your body. And I do this for the next generation because I want women to start loving their bodies. Little girls should love their bodies, and it should start at a really young age. Because if it doesn't, the society will just eat women up, constantly comparing ourselves to other women. I was one of those women, and now I look at a woman's body and I say, you are gorgeous. You are beautiful. And it's just a reflection of how I feel about myself and how I feel about my body. And I think you should compliment women and you should tell them they're beautiful. Not that you shouldn't do that for men, but as women, we need to come together and unite. Not only for ourselves, but for our men too. Because men are going to have a really hard time embracing, especially the sexual energy, because it is them. They are creation. And we need a lot of these divine masculine men to create a new world. But they can't do that if they have a lot of trauma or unresolved problems, or they have nobody to talk to. They keep a lot inside, bottled up. They tend to abuse their sexual energy as a way to cope, as a way to hide, as a way to, it's an addiction. And so sex addiction, that's why it's a huge thing. Think about our pornography industry. I mean, we have a whole industry making bank off sex. That's disgusting. The people that do pornography have a really low self-esteem. This is an example. So many brave souls, especially being on Teen Mom. Person I'm going to talk about next, Farrah from Teen Mom. She does porn, right? Or some kind of version of it. She got kicked off the show for it. You can tell by her mom that she carries a lot of unworthiness about who she is. Her mom, I feel like her mom maybe have been sexually abused or experienced some kind of sexual abuse, and her daughter carried it on. Her daughter, Farrah feels a lot of, like I said, I can read people's energy through the TV. So when I watch Teen Mom, I'm not watching it for the drama. I'm like reading into these people's lives via their energy. So I don't see Farrah as a bad person. I see her as a very, a person that has a lot of low self-esteem, and she's just looking for love. You can tell that her mom does not know how to give her love. Her mom knows how to give her love in her own way, but it's not the kind of love that a child needs. And that's why Farrah is the way she is. Also, her mom's a narcissist for sure. And she you can tell that she wants to be her. So anyway, other person I want to call out on Teen Mom is Tyler from Caitlyn. Caitlyn and Tyler, he's a divine masculine rising. He's awesome. I've seen him post poetry. I'm all about the poetry. He's singing and rapping, and I think that's awesome. He loves God, and he loves, spirituality. He's definitely a divine masculine rising, and you can definitely tell. So there's just so many brave souls that did this stuff in the public eye, and that left them feeling vulnerable and open. Especially we don't know anything about these people's lives. I think they film 18 hours of their lives, and we think that we know them. But we don't, and we just see snippets of who they are, and then people are calling them out on Instagram, and people are just you can't let those people bring you down and stop you from creating, because they just want to be you. They just want to be free. They would love to express themselves, but they feel trapped by their minds, and that's not your problem. You just keep doing you. That's what I have to remind myself, because people are going to criticize me. People are going to give me their opinion, and that's okay. That's the risk you take putting yourself out there, I guess, right? It's just you're open to other people's opinions. You're open to criticism. But you just have to learn how to take it. And you can learn and grow a lot from social media. I post a lot. I like to be vulnerable and open on social media, just because if I can put it out there, it just helps me grow and makes me feel free every time I share a little bit more of myself. I feel like that's the whole point. So this kind of got long-winded, about 40 minutes. I tend to go long. If you watch this, you watch this. If you don't, you don't. Like I said, I'm just using this as an outlet. So if you watched the whole thing and you enjoyed it, thank you for listening. I'll definitely be back, like I said, with more videos just of random stuff. I thought I had to have a more set way, but I'm just learning to align and take inspired action. So here I am. I hope you enjoyed this information. And I'm sending lots of love and light to everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful week, a wonderful day, a wonderful year, wonderful month. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you are happy. I'm sending you lots of love and joy.